Hello and good evening. My name's John. We're playing Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. This is how the game started up, so we're gonna see where it takes us. Not quite sure what this game is. I know it's story-based.
Night has fallen and you're weary from travel. Stars fill the sky above, and in front of you is a brightly lit wooden house, the only building you've seen for days.
Go to the house. Check the mailbox.
You walk toward the house, hearing the sounds of laughter and talk as you reach the door and push it open.
Is that me?
You sit down and join the game. It's a cheap buy-in, and not many of the other players are very good. The lady fiddling with dice gets good cards, but has no real strategy. The man to your right seems to just hold on to the highest cards he has, regardless of suit or any consideration of matches. The man in gray across from you, though, he's good. He already had the largest pile of coins when you bought in, and while your winnings grow quickly, you can't quite catch him. One by one, the other players leave the table, sometimes with pique or with wry humor, leaving their winnings with you or the man in gray.
Good hand.
Finally, it's just you and the man in gray. He looks at you, full of humor, and winks. Last hand?
I'm in.
He deals, you draw, and look at your hand. It's good. It's great. The best hand, in fact. A royal straight flush. Spades. Aces high.
Well, this doesn't look like hubris. Nothing can beat me.
But the man in gray pushes forward his whole pile. You're not sure exactly how much it is, but it's more than you've got. You can't match that.
What? No. Take what you got.
The man in gray stops you. Now, if you like, I'll let you wager your word. I know you'll be good for it. Just promise you'll pay the debt, however I ask.
I don't like this. I'm gonna say check cards.
Yep. 10, jack, queen, king, ace. All spades.
See, this is a trap. This is the devil. You have my word.
The man in gray smiles. All right, then. I'll call.
He swapped my cards. Direwolf, Chapter 1, Where the Water Tastes Like Wine.
Well, your luck wasn't so good, was it? That's quite the hand, but not for the game we're playing. I'm afraid you owe me. Your life, sure, but more than that, your labor. You see, this land is built on stories. It's one big story, this country, woven of many small ones. Few of the small ones are strictly true, and the big story is mostly a lie.
All right.
All the stories and songs and myths and legends start somewhere, with a seed. As they're told and retold and passed around, they grow and change to become the stories we know.
Digging this track.
To pay your debt to me, you'll be carrying stories. Finding the seeds first and then spreading them. Telling them onwards so they can begin gaining strength. This is no light task. Stories are heavy. Most of the stories you'll find will be small seeds. They might They grow wild and unbelievable with the telling.
Okay.
The more important stories are the true ones, the ones people will tell you about their own lives. Those often get lost in the weaves of the big story.
It's a shame there's no lighting or, animation on this light or animation on the character. Like, it's a good static image, I like it, but there could have been smaller touches that would have fit within a budget, I'd hope, to do it. Like, just a shadow layer here flickering with the lamp would have made a whole much more atmosphere for the scene.
The more true stories you can find and tell, the more you can weave that truth into the big story. Tarnish it a bit, perhaps, but isn't a dingy and battered truth better than a shining lie?
I guess?
Now, go ahead. You tell me a story. I'll trade you some information about your task.
Story. Okay, there once was a man from Nantucket. Let's go with the tower. Tell the story of a black and gray city where every building is filled with desiccated corpses. You tell the story of a black and gray city where every
I'll strip away your flesh to make the journey easier, but still you'll feel pain. Hunger, weariness, thirst, and despair. They're all part of stories, the part not often told. And death, yes, but don't worry.
I kind of like my flesh.
As long as your task remains, you come back.
Okay. Justice. Tell the story of endless series of doors, different kinds, each leading to only more doors. You do that. Pixelation on
You
that.
sometimes have to make choices about what kind of story you're finding. Is it a love story or a tragedy?
Is this character creation?
Don't gather too many of one kind, though. This grand story needs variety.
Tell the story of parting cloud of fog to reveal a brief glimpse of land promised in plenty. Yeah, they just zoom in on this texture, and it's not the
Your
best.
deepest desires, your greatest wish, heaven?
Still like this song.
Big rock candy mountain, El Dorado, the promised land, that place just over the ridge where they all say that the water tastes just like the sweetest wine.
Yeah, Sting, tell me about it.
Well, I don't know where that is. It's supposed to be somewhere in this country. Ask the people you meet. They're all searching for the same thing.
Fortune, luck, and fate. Tell a story of a tossing a pair of bone dice and blood red with table. They come up snake eyes and wink it. You do that?
It's just luck. Funny how bad luck seems to follow the folks who already have problems aplenty.
Oh, sorry, continue.
Well, try your luck out there in this country. See how the dice treat you.
Okay.
It's not all bad. You'll have to work hard, but I'll give you the gift for seeing the true shapes of people.
Okay.
Not many who can do that.
Alright, well, do the last one. Tell the story of northbound train blinking its giant eyes, it crawls through the night.
Travel? That's your job. Wander from place to place, gather those stories and spread them. People get bored hearing the same stories over and over. But an old cliche in one state might be a rip-roaring new yarn in another.
Okay.
Go on your way, seeker. Maybe we'll meet again, or maybe not. Either way, it'll be an experience for you.
Let's do it.
I'm jealous in some ways.
No, you're not.
I hope you find what you're looking for.
So I am a skeleton. Okay. Do I move? I use a controller?
Well, I'm gonna scrawl my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground.
ransacked. There's furniture piled in the front yard, ammunition heaped under the mailbox, and a crowd of clean-cut men ripping apart a car in the driveway.
Okay.
The two heavily armed, mud-caked women leaning over the porch railing share the same bored grin. One shouts at you.
Lend a couple innocent gals a cigarette?
Sure.
You are about to hand her a smoke when those men draw pistols and shove you hard into the dirt. You know these girls?
You know, I'm a skeleton.
Man, once they've dumped your bag out into the road, they decide you're harmless.
If you were selling booze too, you'd have a lot more cash.
Sneers one. On the porch behind him, the two bootleggers are fingering their empty rifles, grinning in disappointment.
And when I
Women arrested for bootlegging.
they're the ones who'll bury me.
Oh, that's the stuff I have? "16 characters scatter all the units. Trade stories then."
Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song.
Off the road and into the woods, you can't help but come across this package by the old tree tied to a sturdy stick. The cloth wrapping conceals, though not particularly well, something large and softly unsettled. Little eyes blink back at you from inside the bundle. The shape gives a start.
Please don't tell my pa that I'm in here.
It says in a small voice.
Why not?
Pa doesn't want to live with us anymore. But I want to go with him. Don't tell him, please. I'm hiding.
I won't tell.
You tell the boy you'll keep his secret. You don't see his father anywhere. You don't see another soul.
Oops. Keep ending that a tad too early. It'd be nice if it carried on to the next scene. That's a minor detail. It's more on the... Oh, it's Portland. I've gathered 2 out of... A lot of... 2 out of 234 stories.
They don't come every year, you know. The old man is sitting at the edge of a rotting old pier, crooked legs dangling over the water. He watches a pair of seagulls preen and groom each other on a rock just off the shore.
Why? Why don't they come every year?
Just when the fishing is going to be good. He taps great, black, thick globs of spent tobacco out of a huge ceramic pipe. I got another year, I guess.
One more year of what?
Another year of this town being here, he replies, letting a grin spread across his face. If the seagulls came, that means enough fish to keep it in place.
All right.
The woman walks the small town square with the poise of Betty Davis. The confident stride and inimitable mannerisms elevating the sidewalk into a plush Hollywood carpet. And wrapped around her neck, a yellow velvet ribbon, bright as an ocean sunrise.
Howdy.
You question a well-dressed man parked outside an oyster house. Prudish woman. I took her on a fine date and she didn't remove so much as a ribbon. Excuse me, can you step back from the coupe?
That's the spirit.
You decide to seek a second opinion. You talk with a waitress smoking outside a diner.
Something funny about her. Just showed up one day. Doesn't work, doesn't live anywhere far as I know. Just around. Myself, I'd love to know who made all her beautiful clothes.
Approach.
You ask the woman if you may join her at a public bench.
You may. Lovely outside, isn't it?
Her eyes are a beautiful shaded brown. Beneath the yellow ribbon, a thick, fibrous scar wraps around her throat.
Weather like this, it reminds me of Paris.
You can see storm clouds on the horizon, and you don't relish the thought of being caught wandering this rocky seaside road in the rain. Fortunately, you find the lighthouse door open, with a daunting staircase before you.
Climb on up.
At the top of an ornate wrought iron spiral, you're breathless and feeling the strain on your knees. Rain already batters the walls outside. You can only knock on a heavy wooden door leading into the upper level. Muffled voices and light seep in beneath the door.
Put your ear to the door.
Looks like we got a visitor. Sounds like a man's voice, deep and rough.
Well, behave yourself. I'll open the door.
Another man, this one with a higher, more sonorous voice. I always behave myself. He feigns indignation, but his tone betrays affection instead.
I will wait.
After a moment, the door unlatches from the inside and opens. The man before you is tall and muscular, with a hint of a paunch beneath his wide chest. The heavy iron knob on the door looks nearly dainty in his huge hand.
Didn't want to be out in this rain, did you? Come in.
I'll step inside.
Despite the rough exterior, this room looks like a well-appointed parlor. There's a rug on the well-trod wooden floor and an enormously plush couch. And sat upon it is a stocky fellow grinning through a great hazel-colored beard. Tea? He offers, hoisting a teapot.
Must be lovely up here.
Oh, we manage.
The tall one sits on the sofa, casually wrapping an arm around the other lighthouse keeper.
The quiet suits us just fine.
He needs his quiet time. He's a writer. The tall one grunts.
I dabble. But you must have some good stories from the road.
We might.
You wake up the next morning on their old sofa, still warm from an excess of tea. And cakes? There might have been little cakes. Prodigious snoring rumbles in from the floor above you, and you quietly take your leave.
Okay. Oh, oh. Hi. Hold right trigger to hitchhike. Oh, did you ride in a little car? To Boston. All right.
A dusty truck and a man on horseback pull up next to one another in front of the grocer. Suddenly, the driver and the rider, two wiry old men with identical haircuts, start shrieking at one another.
What's going on?
The man with the truck leaps into the street.
Brother!
He shouts. The one on the horse tumbles out of his saddle.
Brother!
He screams. They embrace in the road.
30 years!
Hollers the driver. The rider, tears streaming down over his face.
That voice
corrects
actor
him.
sounds really familiar.
No! 32!
Oh, wow.
Everyone here is watching these two older men cry and hug one another in the middle of Main Street. Cars and wagons are backing up. People are yelling.
Take a photo of us!
The driver begs you. Starts hauling a tripod out of the bed of his truck.
Let's get out of the road first.
As you usher them onto the sidewalk, the driver says,
Joe, I thought you were dead.
the rider freezes.
Joe?
He blurts.
I'm not Joe.
The two men stare at one another, each slowly recognizing something alien in their mistaken brother's
Whoops.
face.
Oh,
This city is like no other you've been to. Crooked streets splay out in a maze of narrow passages, no two alike. Soon, you find yourself in twilight, utterly lost. Bright light crests around one corner, a car approaching. Unable to afford rescue, you keep walking. The asphalt turns to crooked cobblestones that threaten to wrench your ankle out of place. Was this always a moonless night? The stars multiply, each one looking like a pinprick through which light is exiting the terrestrial world.
continue walking.
It's hard finding your way through in pitch darkness. You go by touch and sound, feeling the scale of the streets by the echoing of your footsteps, fingers tracing the rough surface of the buildings. And then, a rumble of noise in the distance.
Listen.
You quiet yourself, suddenly fearful. The clear sky tells you it's not thunder, but cannon fire. The city comes alive with fires and shouting. You find yourself trampled by a mob
Did
of
I
men
die?
in thick brown coats, a phalanx of bayonets advancing up the street.
Arg.
When you come to,
Okay.
there's no sign of the commotion, the war that you were just caught in. The comically shrill honk of a Model A running up the road startles you, and you crawl toward the sidewalk. Above, the sky is a sharp, cold, cloudless blue.
Move on. You wander the streets of the city looking for a way to make some cash. Look for work. You're waiting for the light to change outside a corner store when the cashier sticks his head out the window and shouts, "Hey, got some time? Want a little cash?" "Sure." You need help moving cases of compressed pop fizz in the back room. We go through like 3 or 4 these week. Now, he explains. People in town are absolutely fiends for the soda. There are 3 soda jerks in the neighborhood alone. We're still making a killing. Wild. Can't stand the stuff, though, he admits, and I'm not sure it's right. How do you mean? You read the ingredients he asks? Curled my hair, no lie. And with that, the cryptic warning tosses you some of the coins, get back to selling. A Reuben. I'm in Boston. Let's get some clam chowder.
The women are oblivious to your approach. Their eyes are shut. Their touch, where they hold hands, is gentle. They speak in low tones. One stifles a burst of laughter, but it brings a smile to their faces.
Sorry.
Says the one who laughed.
Don't be.
Another assures her. They don't look up.
Step loudly.
The branch snaps beneath you. The youngest jerks her eyes open and snatches her hands free from the circle.
It's all right. He isn't coming back.
Soothes the eldest. She turns to you.
You could join us if you've got something you're grateful for.
Yeah, I do.
Your words go unremarked. The youngest, holding your right hand, takes her turn.
And we give thanks for those who left, who we wanted gone, for the skills to thrive without them, and for the companions who make the effort joyful.
Your hands are released. The ceremony is over.
Moving on. Quinn by Claris Caron and Silver Media.
Hey there, stranger. You're welcome to enjoy this fire with me, if you're respectful, that is. This here is my spot, and I ain't inclined to share it with any bad characters. You can call me Quinn.
Hey, Quinn.
These here are my venturing companions. Cass is the big un, and the one with the spots is Flip.
Not a bad name.
I usually beat my way on the rails, but the road news said this town was fat, and the weather was fine. So I'm taking in the sights and seeing what I can drum up. I want to hear a story about ghosts or murderers or something. Scary stuff.
Here are the stories collected far. They're organized by subject. The subject of each story is here. You tell the person a story about love, for example, tell you something from their life. Okay. As the night goes on, the second from left to right. When it reaches the right side, the night's over in your story. Okay. You tell them his stories they request, you'll gain their trust and their eye will open. When it opens fully, the next time you meet them, they'll open up more for their life. Remember this from the conversation. Don't feel need to open the eye all the way the first time you meet them. Dance around and get to know them. Want a scary story. Eagles. Oh yeah, that one. You tell the story of an elegant woman in a small town.
Ain't life got enough tearjerkers in it without telling stories like that? Jeez.
You said you wanted something scary.
Sad. Well, so you think just 'cause I'm young, I gotta be sad, crying after my mama every night. I don't need you looking after me, so if you're offering, don't. And I thought I told you to be respectful. What you really ought to be asking yourself is if you want to keep enjoying my spot or not. Hey, do you got any really thrilling stories to tell? I'm hankering for one of those.
Bootleggers?
Well, that was something. You spin a good yarn. Authority, bosses and such. I ain't nobody's little Angelina, if that's what you're asking. I take care of myself and my dogs. I don't need no jocker looking out for me, so if you're offering, don't. Shoot, I thought I told you to be respectful.
I'm doing what I can, my man.
You want to keep enjoying my spot or not? Think about that. Hey, tell me one of those exciting stories.
Story of the stage climber on the streets of Boston.
Were you trying to scare me? Well, you didn't go far enough. Well, I don't know a whole lot about the past, but they say there's an Injun grave around these parts. Say it's haunted and full up with angry spirits. I used to love hearing stories of cowboys and Injuns fighting it up. Would swap tales with the youngins. But, well, I suppose if someone shot me, I'd be pretty vengeful too. I want a story that scares me. Now I'm older, almost nobody can do it. Give me your best shot.
Best I got, kid. Tell the story of the boy who ran away with his father.
Well, that sure was a downer. Give me a good adventure tale instead any day. My family. There ain't no way I'm gonna start jaw flapping about those bastards. Judases, the lot of them. Enough said. Hey, tell me a funny story. You seem like you still got a sense of humor.
Oh, that's the brothers. But can I not do the brothers? Did I already do that one? I don't know. White House Keepers?
I don't get too much out of tales that are so cheerful. Not enough excitement for me.
I'm trying, kid.
Love stories. Huh. Folks sure seem to be eat up with the notions of love. Singing and talking about it all the damn time. Not sure I see the appeal myself. Well, night's over. I think I'll see what's happening up the road this way. Didn't understand all your stories, but I'd gladly listen to more if I see you again.
Okay.
The tramping life suits me just fine. Every day's adventure. With things being so depressed, folks walk around like it's the end of everything good. But it ain't. Plenty nice things to see if and you know where to look.
Alright. No voice over here? As you walk down the road, a black crow flutters down to land on your path. It looks at you, cocks its head, and speaks. Wow! You got a long, long road ahead, don't you? All these people chase down, so I hear. It laughs. I got some experience when it comes to chasing folks. Tell me about it. Well, if you want, I could go find the friend again. Ask them more about their life. They might want better stories this time, though. He peers up at you. Didn't tell you where they're headed? Didn't they tell you where they were headed next? Yeah. But hey, the world's full of people. Bet you could find another friend if you I'm looking around. There's more than one interesting person in the land for sure. Juicy gravely laughed. That's what humans say anywhere. With that, it launches the air and disappears. Is this a minigame to go faster? Hero story. You spend a while in a cool shade at a gas station. You notice 3 kids sitting beside their family car. While the parents argue loudly with the cashier inside, the children seem embarrassed. You see the old brother lean over and distract his siblings with the story. He starts telling the story about a shootout between a female bootlegger and the cops. You realize almost instantly he's telling a new version of the tale of the women arrested for bootlegging, but with new, exciting, over-the-top details. He tells it well. When the parents come stomping furiously out of the gas station, you make yourself scarce, missing the ending of the boy's story, but the parts you heard are definitely easy to remember. It'll stick with you for a while. Story grew.
Clouds roll together to fill the sky.
Watch the sky churn.
The lightning is so strong that it seems to open a path in the haze above you. You are sure you see massive talons curved around the clouds.
Keep on watching.
The thunder is so immense that the ground trembles. Your lips and hands tingle from the electric charge that fills the air.
Oh. Oh, excuse me, New York. I'm gonna grab this little one over here first. Jet Black Crow aligns the lights at Jack Black Crow alights on the low branch of Twisted Tree. Look at you! Because you got some good stories already? Well, I've heard better, much better. It seems weak to you. Want to hear my tricks? Sure, ask about stories. Once you got now, pathetic stuff. You tell those stories around and they'll come back more exciting, more satisfying. So always listen to other stories other folks tell. Their tales are less true, sure, but more useful around the campfire. Also made a point about the true ones, though, Crow admits. They're extra interesting. Learn a couple of folks' true life stories and everyone will like them, no matter what kind of story they want to hear. Well, everybody's got a captain of their destiny. Ain't no bootstraps in the world that can save you now, but the choices you make, they change the kind of story you can tell. Ruffles his feathers and starts rock. Choose wisely or don't. Haha.
Come down for to take me hand in hand. This will be my tale, my vagrant song.
Earn money. Earn some cash. Look for work. You join a crew of laborers waiting at street corner. Soon a truck pulls up and everyone jumps to the back. The job's good, one woman assures you. You arrive short ways, pulls through the factory. Everyone hops out, start putting on heavy coats. What for? The whole factory is a vast cold meat locker. You're shivering in only a few minutes. Dragging carcasses around is hard work, but it keeps you so warm your hands really numb. Keep going. You grit your teeth and keep working. By nightfall, you're shaking almost uncontrollably. You paid a full day's wages, but it's hardly worth it.
The engines belch black smoke as the ferry churns gray water into froth. A broad-shouldered figure leans out over the rail, eyeing the skyscrapers on the horizon. Nearby, a man and a woman speak in low, urgent voices. He takes her wrist gently. She is weeping softly.
Listen on the couple.
I wish you didn't have to go.
She says,
There's gotta be work on some of those buildings going up.
his thumb skates over her pulse point.
I checked every day for a week. There ain't. I'll be back though. Got your picture in my wallet, don't I? It's not forever.
Her words are split by a sob.
Might as well be. My parents didn't come to New York for this.
She leans against him, the wind tousling her hair. He pulls her to his chest.
I'm leaving because I gotta go. If there was another way.
They stand together, close, quiet, in the stiff breeze.
Move on. Well, I mean, if you're in New York, you gotta get a piece of pizza.
Well, I got no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm gone empty, they're the ones who'll bury me.
Bro again. Hey friend, hey, hear about trains? About travel. To ride a train with your budget, you'll need to hop on at a train yard, though. That's convenient, but the railroad bulls really don't like when you ride in the empty boxcars. If you get caught, you'll get beaten. Also, you might see one straight story was with. You don't decide that you can hitchhike, find the car, feel sorry for long. There was no wings, no motors. I always do.
By and by, I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will
The stream is a clear, reflective shade
Ooh.
of blue. Unusual in this region, where bog iron colors the river's brown.
be my tale.
Across the way, a goat with great leather wings laps up the water, its sunken red eyes fixed on your every movement.
Take stock.
You now notice the unnatural absence of wildlife. No fish swim in the stream. No birds sing in the trees. The winged goat drinks with a forked tongue, only abstractly concerned with your presence.
I will always approach a goat.
Over the hill, a scorched one-room house lies abandoned, 2 of its 4 walls in ruins. The goat rears up, front hooves curled, and stretches its wings out to their full breadth.
I will always approach a goat.
The goat opens its mouth and wails, a protracted, shrill sound, indistinguishable from the cry of a human infant. It only begins to stop when you take several steps back.
Leave.
The winged goat doesn't follow. Instead, It lies down inside the burnt house, surrounded by portraits of a large family, glass frames stained brown from smoke.
Okay.
Muddling through the dark, you stumble into the path of the white deer. Its beauty strikes you at once. It is something otherworldly, beyond borders, a moon swimming in the void. Human shouts not far away break the spell. The deer's ears prick up. This thing is being hunted.
Help the deer!
You know a way out of here. As the hunter's cries get louder, you approach the deer carefully, palms outstretched. As you grow close, your features become clearer in the light of the deer's aura. It bolts into the path of an oncoming train.
Oh no! Hear a story. Isn't this? The boy blurts out, loitering outside a grocery store. He works his way through a long and strange story of a dead woman in a yellow ribbon. There, he finishes. What do you think? Wait a minute. Holy crap, you know the story. It's a story of an elegant woman in a small town, but wildly altered. For a couple moments, she's surprised to seriously? And says, what do you think about that? Can't be real. Surprisingly, the boy's delighted. That's what I told my brothers, but he dunked me in a rain barrel and punched me. That sucks, you tell him. Kid shrugs. Put a wasp in a cup. He held it his back while we were sleeping. It's an hour square, I guess. Story grew. Mason by Sydney Meeker. Pay for your life.
My twin brother Paul and I always got into trouble, but we were good. We didn't do nothing to anybody until we left. Then we hurt a lot of people. Me, more so than Paul, because he didn't make it through. The march I was on, the bonus army, it's less a bonus and more an acknowledgement of what I've had to suffer. Civilians will never understand. Know any good jokes? I'm not so good at telling them anymore.
The brothers seem like a joke.
Yeah, Paul would have liked that one. The past doesn't even feel like it happened. It feels like it's happening in every moment, in every slumber. When the memories come back to you, do they clutch at you, at your heart? Tell me a happy story. Something to make the world seem kind.
Couples. Seagulls. Women praying. Do this. This one.
I liked that one. There's some hope left for you too, you know. Don't give it away too quickly. Love? It was a real long time ago. I pulled a ribbon on her hair, her pigtails came undone, and she tattletaled on me. I never really tried after that. But anyway, do you know any good sad stories? True ones?
Thunderstorm. Bootleggers. That's pretty sad. Are seagulls sad? Go with... You want tragic story. White deer. Got hit by a train. That's pretty tragic.
Well, maybe you should tell my story to Hoover. I think you might put a crack in his heart.
Okay.
Freedom is getting paid what you deserve and getting enough to get by. Freedom is the ability to be free of pain. Do you know any happy stories? Hopeful ones?
Hope. Not the bootleggers. That's kind of hopeful. Seagulls and the fishermen.
For a moment there, just a moment, I felt better about it all too. The future's the issue, ain't it? Great War leaves us nothing to go back to, plucking up the hope and leaving us only with the vile and the unforgiving. So anyway, tell me a funny story? You seem like you know a few good ones.
Running out of stories. Sure? That can't be right.
And that's what you think when you think of tragedy. Huh. My family. They were good to
I
me.
tried.
Ma and Pa, and to Paul, and to my sister Jessie. Some days I wish I could find Jessie again and have her help me. She always liked Paul best. Here's the sun. I've got to go. I'm headed up the road this way. Will our paths cross? Days come and go and the terrors return. They'll never be able to pay back what they owe me, but I'll always keep at 'em. What about you? Is there something somebody owes you?
Okay. Mason Chapter 2 is now available. Where are we? We're at Washington. Right. Well, be foolish not to visit. For work.
The mailman's uniform is dated and worn. He sits on the edge of the road, head in hands. He looks up as you approach. Can you help? Car clipped me. I think my legs... Well, I'd appreciate it if you could deliver this for me. He holds out a brown envelope.
Let's do it.
The letter's addressed to a James Gibson Sr., 120 J Street. But the city stymies you. The blocks run straight from I to K. You stop a man for directions, but he shakes his head and laughs. Someone's playing a joke on you. There's no J Street.
Keep looking.
Over here. A woman in a brown coat overheard your question. She steers you down an alley. Someone's chalked a big orange J on one wall. I thought Clovis was late. Go left up ahead. Old Man Gibson's the third on the right. As you round the corner, the world changes. J Street is a place out of time. Like the city forgot an entire street a century ago and carried on around it, oblivious. Even the man who answers is ancient and stooped. He peers at the letter. I think it's from my son. I don't see so well anymore. Will you read it to me? You tear the letter open. It isn't good news.
Tell him the truth.
He fights it, but his face crumbles. Tears roll down his cheeks. It's better to know. I've been waiting a long time for this. His shaking hand takes the letter. Thank you for telling me.
I want to get to that other story, but we'll stop on a few places along the way. I think I see it over there, so it's not too far away.
Outside the small thicket of apple trees, the phrase "tended to by John Chapman" is carved into a fence post. Nearby, a hound lies on its side, perfectly still. Flies buzz around its ears. But a grizzled man pauses at his digging to shoo them off. There's an extra shovel. With it, the two of you make short work of the grave. He tells you about his beliefs, why he's raising apple orchards in the middle of the country. It's a sin to graft, he tells you. Hurts the tree. Eventually, the hole is deep enough.
Bear witness.
He stoops to the ground and lowers the pup into the earth. Tears flow freely. I'll see him again in heaven, he tells you. Our souls are bound by love. He wipes his eyes. I don't think I can bear to stay here, though. Maybe I'll set out again.
Move on.
His clothes are expensive, but unkempt. A tailored jacket stretched and warped out of its best fit by long days on the road. His thinning frame weighs down the boxcar next to yours.
What?
You offer a match, which bends and nearly snaps as he scratches it against the pitted iron edge of the boxcar. Thanks, he mumbles, perching one last cigarette.
Why
on
is the
his
same
lip.
boxcar? We're at a house.
Don't rightly know where I'm going. You notice how deeply wrinkled his clothes are. It's as though a huge hand plucked him from a high society party and crumpled him up like a sheet of paper. Don't rightly know how I got going either.
Why?
They built a railway just past Missy Hudson's estate. Damned racket ruined our soiree. Might have been a few bottles of Armagnac too many when I walked down the tracks to tell them to keep it quiet. He drags on the cigarette, but you never see him exhale.
Well, we might as well grab these other two over here. A long black car rolls in front of the hotel. A woman steps out of extravagant hat and coat, followed by a whole crowd of hangers. Is she a singer, an actress? You don't recognize her surprise. You recognize the story she's telling. Listen in. In a sharp transatlantic accent, he's telling everyone in the party about the fishermen and fish calling seagulls. It's clear the story seagulls and the fishermen have changed a few interchanging ways. Keep listening in. That's something. Isn't that something? She asks. Her various followers agree. Raise the driver of the limousine and sweeps like a hotel into the hotel like thunderstorm or red velvet. Someone should do a picture about it. You hear her saying, "Move on."
You come across a girl picking wild blueberries. She smiles and greets you.
Anin.
She offers you some from her birch bark basket.
Thank you.
You reach in the basket for blueberries, but pull out a handful of small, smooth stones, all the colors of the rainbow. The snickering girl runs into the trees as fast and light as a rabbit.
Throw the stones.
When the stones reach the top of their arc above your head, they turn into butterflies, all the colors of the rainbow. Your heart leaps in surprise. Incredible.
All right. I really like the effect they're doing here for the river. The Ohio River. I'm stuck walking forward. No, I don't want to cross. Why am I stuck walking forward? No, game, no! Mason by Mr. Sidney Meeker.
First, Ma and Pa wanted me and Paul on the front lines. They wanted someone to be proud of, and I did as they asked. Then the government wanted me to take an IOU, and I did.
I like how it's interesting how they said, he said government and it said the U.S.
When there were no more jobs, I, along with thousands of others like me, went and asked Hoover to pay up. General MacArthur was so scared of us, he brought in goddamn tanks to keep us from tearing apart D.C. Tell me a happy story. Something to make the world seem kind.
I really don't have a lot of stories. We'll try that one.
Oh, come on. That doesn't sound real. Home? Everything has one, or everything should. Everything deserves one. I don't really...
But open the eye
tell
multiple times.
You know those little purple thistles, the prickly ones? Cirsium vulgare, they're called. Common weeds, but I love the little scratchy flowers, and I feel a little disappointed yanking out their roots. They never hurt anyone. So anyway, tell me a funny story?
Funny story. Funny story. Seriously? I don't have a funny story. This one? Okay.
Wish I could tell that one to my sister. Traps. I felt like I was trapped, but it's fading. It's a slow process, but the memories, they leave sometimes. They leave. I don't remember every compatriot. I don't remember Pa's voice anymore. You know any good jokes? I'm not so good at telling them anymore.
Funny, huh? Haha. Like, that's a sad story. That's not funny, it's a dead dog. I mean, we'll try it.
Got nightmares enough without hearing that kind of horror.
Sorry.
The past. I wish I could go back. Before I had to mourn. And before all the hope was drained from me. So anyway, tell me a funny story?
I don't know any funny stories.
Where you headed? Back to the road? No. I should be leaving soon too. The road takes me this way. I wish there was a road I could take home. Home as I knew it. To my sister Jessie and all of them before the war. But there ain't. It's something I think the road is helping me to understand.
Okay, so I definitely need to talk to multiple people multiple times, but this is incredibly tricky when you can only tell them once. What's up, the old man who shuffles from foot to foot, thumping his suspenders, waiting for passing traffic. Hey, you want to hear a story? Sure. Ancient battles of Boston streets, duration. Okay. Wait a second. Christopher is disturbed by the strange clamor in Boston Street. Vastly changed, whole new chunk. True, the old man said. Alright, well, we're going to take a break there. See, we'll come back to it. Interesting game. A few rough spots around it, but story's pretty cool. Cheers.